But he wouldn't stop. Well, Floyd was boxing him up. Yeah. So Floyd is just piecing him up. So Floyd, you know, I mean, even at 46, he's the greatest of all time. He caught Floyd a couple times with some little shots, but mostly he's just getting boxed up, right?
Slow him down.
Joe Rogan couldn't hide his shock when he watched the sparring video where Terence Crawford was humbled by Floyd Mayweather just before his fight against Canelo Alvarez. I know sparring isn't supposed to be taken too seriously, but that was insane from a 48-year-old man against the world's best right now. The sparring video captured a few seconds of Floyd slipping Crawford's punches with his reflexes and countering back with sharp, dangerous combinations. This especially stunned Joe Rogan, who had always taken Crawford's side in the GOAT debate until now.
So who do you like in Canelo versus Crawford?
Well, I'm a giant Crawford fan because I think he's the best switch hitter since Marvin Hagler.
I'm a giant Crawford fan because I called his coming out fight against Bradus Prescott.
He's
and
special.
then various other stepping stones throughout his career.
I also think he's one of those guys that if you tell him he can't do something, he wants to show you and shock you.
Just after the fight, Joe Rogan called Crawford one of the greatest boxers ever, placing him above Floyd Mayweather and several other legends. However, after seeing Crawford struggle against Mayweather in sparring, even though Floyd retired 10 years ago, Rogan instantly changed his stance. I'm mind blown right now. It's obvious that Floyd is still the best ever. No generation can match him. And I have to admit, he's built from something entirely different.
Boxed up by literally the greatest boxer of all time. But he was holding on quite a bit and wouldn't let go and was trying to hold and clinch and hit, which is something like right here, which is something you can do in MMA. So he's protecting himself from Floyd, but he's not letting go.
Well, the video clearly showed that the sparring was cut and edited. So there's every chance that things played out differently from what we saw in those short seconds. This was obvious in the sparring video Floyd Mayweather released last year between Gervonta Davis and Devin Haney, where the first clip made it look like Davis was dominating until the full video came out. That move has now stirred even more controversy around Floyd Mayweather and his decision to cut out certain parts of the footage.
Hey, good hook, baby. There you go. You only threw one. Good jab. Don't break. He's a beast. He's a beast. He's a beast, baby. He's a beast.
Well, the sparring video didn't just end with Joe Rogan. Boxing fans worldwide shared their shock, with Mayweather's supporters taking aim at those comparing him to Crawford, while Crawford's fans demanded the full sparring video. Floyd is so shady. Why cut the video? I'm sure Bud destroyed him in the rest of it. That man's such a bad person, and Bud's always shown him respect, a Crawford fan said. An opposing fan saw it differently, arguing, Floyd's truly the GOAT. He still has sharp reflexes and deadly combinations even at this age. I'm sure the outcome would be the same if this fight were real.
I saw you before the fight, the Crawford-Canelo fight, and you had a Cavs hat on. This time you've got a GOAT hat on. Is that how you're feeling? I know it says Muhammad Ali, but is that how you're feeling about Bud's performance, about his whole career?
Yeah, I'm definitely feeling that way, man. GOAT. Greatest of all time, man. You gotta give it to him. You gotta give it to him. You gotta give it to his coaches. Not just me, Saul Red, Bernie, Chet, nutritionists, everybody played a part.
Canelo said he's way better than Mayweather. What do you think to that?
Who, Terence?
Yeah.
Oh, of course. Of course.
When I looked at it, he came out in the southpaw stance and he took Canelo's jab away from him. As you know, if you take a fighter's jab away from them, then it's hard for them to really land. You forced them to use one shot, and he forced them to use his backhand, his rear hand. Crawford was ready for the loop in the right hands.
Another fan commented, Floyd's levels above fighters of this generation and every other one. His defensive game puts him on a different planet. Crawford won't touch him even if he tries. A fourth fan added, I was sure Crawford met Floyd or B-Hop to fight the way he did. Not saying he's not skilled, but he followed a clear blueprint to get that win. Still, he showed his talent when he stayed in the pocket, and finally, one summed it up. Floyd versus Bud is the eternal debate. Everyone gets compared to Floyd, Ali, Pacquiao, Usyk, Crawford. But Floyd's the yardstick. And that's why he's the greatest.
If I take Floyd Mayweather in his absolute prime, and I take Manny Pacquiao in his absolute prime,
Floyd Mayweather.
Floyd still beats him.
Floyd beat everybody.
You don't believe there's a guy at 140, 147 in the history of boxing that could have beat Floyd in his prime?
It'd be tough. Floyd, man, that boy, man, that's the GOAT, man. That boy bad.
What makes it, I mean, what, because, and I told people, I said, look at Floyd. I said, Floyd, it's not that he trains, I mean, it's his life. And from the very beginning, he's like, I want to be the best.
When I fought Canelo, I was 36 and Canelo was 23, around the same age. Some of these guys won world titles and was undisputed champion. I think, the Tank age, the young low champions. Canelo was 23 with 43 fights and 30 knockouts.
But when asked if he had matched Mayweather's exploits, Crawford dismissed the comparison outright. Listen, Floyd was the greatest of his era, and I'm the greatest of mine. There's no need to compare, he said at the post-fight press conference. Yet the debate reignited just 15 minutes later when Canelo Alvarez, who showed nothing but respect for Crawford in defeat, was asked which fighter was better. A question loaded with history since Alvarez, then just 23, had suffered his first professional loss to a 36-year-old Mayweather back in 2013.
Put it on Canelo a little worse than that because that style of fight, I don't think he beats someone like Terence Crawford. But if I'm Terence Crawford, of course I'll fight him again. But this time, I'm the A side. I think Terence Crawford is going to be more confident next time, knowing that I can punch with this guy. I can take his shot. I'm faster.
He fought Canelo Alvarez.
Yeah.
He didn't do what the last two did, just
Crawford deserves all the credit. I gave everything I had tonight, but just couldn't solve his style. He had it all. Alvarez admitted, I think Crawford is way better than Floyd Mayweather. But not everyone agreed, especially Canelo's longtime rival and Golden Boy promoter, Oscar De La Hoya. He pushed back hard. I have to disagree because Floyd Mayweather toyed with Canelo, literally toyed with him. He didn't get hit at all, not once. Crawford, yes, he's more of a fighter boxer. Mayweather's more of a pure boxer. But I think Mayweather is much more superior than Crawford. Not just because he beat me, or because it was close, or because I stepped in the ring with him. I really believe, technically, Mayweather is the better fighter.
And who would do it? Because Canelo after the fight said that Crawford is way better than Floyd. You know Crawford, you know Canelo, you know Floyd. What do you think? Who would win in a fight?
My man. I have to disagree because Floyd Mayweather toyed with Canelo. Like, he literally toyed with him. He didn't get hit at all. Not one time. And
to be honest, this is a debate that can't be settled so easily. Even though the eras of Mayweather and Crawford slightly overlapped, the timelines tell a different story. Crawford captured his first world title in 2014, just a year before Mayweather claimed the final championship of his career and stepped away for 2 years. And then there's Canelo Alvarez, whose resume, packed with high-quality wins, has long overshadowed Crawford's in terms of depth. For years, Alvarez was seen as the ruler of his era, until the outcome of last weekend's fight shifted that narrative completely.
I like Crawford's style of fighting, the way he's gonna come after him. Mayweather, okay, let's do this. Money Mayweather, I think Crawford beats.
Okay. Pretty boy.
Pretty boy, I don't know. I think Pretty Boy, it might be Pretty Boy. I don't know. That's what I'm thinking, because he's more aggressive.
For as flawless as Crawford's last 3 fights have been over the past 2 years, each one leaving a major mark on his legacy, it really wasn't until he dismantled Errol Spence at 35 that he cemented his place among the greatest of this century. Even with Crawford matching Mayweather as a 5-division champion, the comparison in resume strength tilts heavily toward Floyd. Crawford's world titles came by beating solid unbeaten names like Yuriorkis Gamboa, Viktor Postol, Jeff Horn, and Madrimov. Respectable, yes, but not the same caliber of opposition Floyd consistently faced. His truly elite wins largely boil down to Sean Porter, Spence, and now Canelo Alvarez. There's no denying Crawford's talent, but the depth and name value of Mayweather's victims still separate the two.
He's a talented fighter, and that challenge for him pushed him even harder to train harder and to be better. That challenge, went up against Canelo, moving up 2 divisions, hearing that people are saying, oh, he didn't look too good against Madrimov, so how could he look good at 68? Well, that motivated more, man. He trained hard. He did what he...
Crawford did add names like Amir Khan and Kell Brook to his resume in pay-per-view showdowns, but both were far removed from their primes when he beat them. Mayweather, by contrast, wasn't just the biggest draw of his era, the highest-paid boxer in history and a longtime pound-for-pound king. He also built an unparalleled legacy through victories over a stacked list of current and future Hall of Famers. Arturo Gatti, Oscar De La Hoya, Ricky Hatton, Juan Manuel Marquez, Shane Mosley, Miguel Cotto, Manny Pacquiao, and even a young Canelo Alvarez all fell to Floyd. On top of that, he notched highly respected title wins over the likes of Genaro Hernandez, Diego Corrales, Jose Luis Castillo, Zab Judah, Robert Guerrero, and Marcos Maidana. Simply put, his body of work is almost without equal.
Work on what you need to work on. Put your head down and grind. You get results like this.
I noticed that when I was watching the fight that Terence Crawford specifically, whichever side that Canelo threw at him, Terence would respond with a shot from that side as well. Did you see that in the tape that you watched of Canelo as a weakness where he was...
Comparing resumes alone doesn't capture the whole truth. Crawford was never the showman or pay-per-view magnet that Mayweather was, which often left his former promoter Top Rank, struggling to secure marquee matchups for a fighter seen as high risk and low reward. Mayweather, on the other hand, built a resume that will only shine brighter with time because of the sheer name value attached to it. Yet even his legacy comes with caveats in the eyes of critics. The timing of many of his biggest fights is often questioned, especially since, as both the pound-for-pound king and pay-per-view juggernaut, Mayweather held the leverage to call the shots and dictate matchups entirely on his terms.
Using what he got to shield him. He got a lot of security guards around him, and he's in the limelight and stuff like that. But in certain situations, he wouldn't be acting like that.
Do you like him as a fighter, though?
Yeah, he's a damn good fighter.
Yeah.
But like his core personality and his ways.
We all remember that the long-awaited Mayweather-Pacquiao super fight, still the richest bout in boxing history, happened more than 5 years past its prime window. Mayweather also forced Alvarez to drain down 3 pounds to a catchweight, didn't face Mosley until he was nearly 39, and even came in 2 pounds heavy against Marquez to gain a physical edge.
Where does Canelo go from here, Henry?
He needs to rematch. If I'm Canelo, I want to rematch Terence Crawford. He got schooled, bro. He got outboxed, dude, by Terence Crawford. And I know that he's itching to get that one back. The first time he fought Triple G, and he came back the second time, and he legit beat Triple G.
Once in a lifetime fight. It doesn't need to be a rematch. I think Bud would do worse the next fight.
Critics argue that a contemporary like Crawford, with elite speed, power, and ring IQ, is exactly the kind of prime welterweight opponent Mayweather would have avoided. Regardless of where you rank him, Crawford carries that old-school grit and adaptability that suggests he could dominate in any era. And while it took longer than expected for him to reach this level of spotlight, there's still room for Crawford, especially if he moves up to 160 pounds, to further elevate his already remarkable legacy.
We've had a lot of comparisons between Terence Crawford and Floyd Mayweather. We've even had the conversation go as far as who would win in a fight between Terence and Floyd. And I truly don't know the answer to that question.
I do.
You do?
Yes.
Yeah. Who will win that fight?
Floyd.
Floyd will win that fight.
Yes, sir. I
Floyd
love you, Terence.
Always figures it out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Despite constant comparisons from fans between Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Terence Crawford, Bud has never tried to strip the 50-0 champion of his rightful honors. Instead, Crawford has shown deep appreciation for Mayweather, and when asked about their similarities, he made it clear, he's the king. In doing so, Crawford both praised and acknowledged Floyd's enduring greatness. Crawford then elaborated, saying, "We have quite a lot in common in some aspects, but we're a little different because I take more chances. Earlier in his career, he was taking a lot of chances too. It just depends on which Floyd Mayweather you're talking about. Are you talking about Money or Pretty Boy? Because Pretty Boy was the seek and destroyer. Then, after the hand injuries, he couldn't really keep up with the same power. And as he moved up, he was fighting bigger opponents.
Chances,
Excuse me, Crawford.
you know, right now, but earlier in his career, he was taking a lot of chances as well. So, you know, it just depends on which Floyd Mayweather you talk about. Do you talk about Money or do you talk about Pretty Boy? Because Pretty Boy was the seek and destroy fighter.
Like Crawford mentioned, they share a lot of similarities, but fans continue to debate who the better fighter truly is. A new source even suggested that Crawford would likely come out on top if the two ever fought. Still, when it comes to pure boxing ability, it's hard to find anyone who delivered more sweet science masterclasses than Floyd Mayweather Jr. His crisp jab, precision, timing, and counterpunching skills allowed him to dismantle a long list of elite opponents. And he managed to do it across two distinct versions of himself.
He's going to reach from the left hooks again. And the lightning hand speed extraordinary. Left hook drops him. And then he hit his head off the Gomez here at the engine.
Just as Crawford pointed out, Pretty Boy Floyd was the aggressive version who pressed forward and broke opponents down, while Money Mayweather later relied on precision and calculated brilliance to edge out rivals. Both styles, though different, built the legacy of Floyd Mayweather Jr. In comparison, fans are still stunned by what Crawford did to Errol Spence in their last fight. A performance that showcased dominance, adaptability, and flawless execution at the highest level.
He drops him again. That's a hard knockdown that time with the left hook. How about that? Keeps battling, falling forward. Uppercut. Terence Crawford has stopped.
Whether it was the sharp jab splitting Spence's guard, his ability to punch cleanly in traffic, or the flawless timing of his counters, Crawford displayed elite boxing ability, arguably at a level never seen before against a fighter as highly regarded as Spence. Still, when the conversation shifts to pure boxing mastery, it's hard to put anyone above Mayweather. The two simply operate with different styles. Crawford's explosive, versatile offense versus Mayweather's disciplined, technical sweet science. If they met in their primes, the clash would come down to key questions. Whose jab would land first? Who would control the counters? And who would adapt faster? With so many possible outcomes, the fairest call might be to label this category a draw. How many times have we seen Mayweather slow things down, draw his opponents into the center of the ring, and then go to work, downloading every move, breaking it all apart, and building a blueprint to dismantle them piece by piece. With his unmatched ring IQ and the mantra of hit and don't get hit, he carved his way into the Hall of Fame as an undefeated 5-division champion. And now, Crawford, having conquered undisputed at both junior welterweight and welterweight, has proven that his own ring IQ runs just as deep, guiding him through some of the biggest moments of his career.
He's a chess master. Yeah, his IQ in that
The
sense
funny
is
thing
crazy.
about it is Terence has been the only other guy that people can say he always figures it out. You know?
Yeah, that's true. But you
You
gotta
can't
have
say
an
that
OG
about
somewhere.
anybody
though.
else.
There's an OG
Somebody
somewhere.
gotta pioneer,
that you can't
right?
out-figure
Yeah,
out.
yeah, you gotta-
There's
yeah.
an OG you can't out-figure out
Yeah,
somewhere,
yeah,
and I just
yeah.
believe
Mayweather's hand speed was undeniable, especially when it came to counter-punching. But Crawford's sharp angles and snapping delivery give Bud the edge in overall speed. Out of Mayweather's 50 career wins, 27 ended in knockouts. Compare that to Crawford's 40 victories, where 31 came by knockout. And remember, he's still active. Just look at his masterclass against Spence, where he floored him 3 times before sealing the night with a dominant 9th round TKO.
When you hook, you want to you want to hook from the hips. So when you hook, boom, this toe gonna go up and this one gonna go down. So you hear and it's gonna go boom. So you can do a 45 or you can do straight. Come straight from the shoulders, boom. Open it up a little bit, bam. But get that, there you go. So, yeah, so you want to come, everything you do, you want to come from the shoulders, boom. Just turn it. When you coming in there, you hear, boom. And that's where that torque gonna come from. The hips, your legs.
Breaking down a power-punching, body-snatching fighter like Spence, who dismantled Kell Brook, Sean Porter, and Yordenis Ugas to unify the welterweight titles, was no small task. Yet Crawford made it look effortless, with his power playing a huge role. Mayweather, on the other hand, perfected the art of defensive boxing. Trapped in a corner, he'd raise that shoulder into the Philly shell, absorb shots on his arm, and use his free hand to fire pinpoint counters. Defense transformed into offense at its finest. Crawford's defense is slick in its own right, but Mayweather elevated it to near-perfect mastery.
More of a fighter, boxer. Mayweather's more of a boxer. But I have to disagree. I think Mayweather is much more superior than Crawford. Not just because he beat me and it was a close fight, whatever, you know, or that I stepped in the ring with Mayweather, but I really feel that
A Crawford versus Prime Mayweather showdown would be a chess match at the highest level. After a cautious opening round of feints and reads, Crawford would likely press the action early, using his length, activity, and timing to land shots, even if many were muted by Mayweather's shoulder roll and tight guard. By the middle rounds, though, Mayweather's adjustments would kick in, his jab dictating pace and his counters frustrating Crawford as he banked points with clinical precision.
That's unbelievable. To young boxing fans that are watching Floyd Mayweather, you're seeing one of the greatest defensive fighter of all time. I mean, that's how strong. You're where and then he's nowhere. You think you can. And again, it's not just hand quickness, it's the movement of the head, the way he rolls with punches. Look at the way he makes them miss. I mean, here we go. Through a series of punches and nothing really landed. Terrific fight for Mayweather.
Yet even with Mayweather's defensive genius, Crawford's relentless pressure and heavy firepower could break through, maybe even stun the legend at moments. That kind of volume and those snapping punches might just sway the judges, giving Bud a points victory over Floyd's technical brilliance. And while Crawford stayed humble after his career-defining win over Canelo Alvarez for the undisputed crown, the boxing world refuses to let the debates on his historical greatness fade away. And that's all for now. If you want the very best updates on boxing news, moments, and iconic fights, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you never miss what's next. Until then,